Hi guys, it's Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and can you believe it? I have a project to share with you as well as a tutorial that will be followed by this video. And what I went ahead and made was this super cute little mini album. So this is from, as some of you may or may not know, I had foot surgery. I'm still out of work. I have another month to go. I'm finally feeling better. I can spend some more time in my craft room. But while I was out and I couldn't do anything for a while, of course, you know, I was on TikTok. Who isn't? And I found Plymouth Cards, and they have these super cool monthly kits. So she goes thrifting. I believe her name is Lisa. Let me double check. I have an invoice. Hold on. Yes, her name is Lisa, and she owns and runs Plymouth Cards. So I happened to be scrolling one day, and I saw a live of her packing some orders. So I started watching it because I haven't really seen a lot of craft videos and lives on there. I have now because I started watching some, and you just get sucked into the algorithm of it. So there is a whole craft world out there on TikTok that I was not aware of. However, I was watching her, and she was talking about a monthly kit that she sends out where she goes thrifting and she finds things, creates a kit. The kit that I got happened to be flowers. It was like springtime flowers. She has a lot of other different themes for different monthly kits, but she goes out thrifting and everything and finds a lot of really cool things and things that you wouldn't necessarily expect for making scrapbooks. So I took that upon myself to make a challenge of going ahead and ordering the monthly kit and seeing what I could come up with. And I actually love what I came up with. So she also has cards that she sells that are really heavy quality. So I have some here. Let me show you first. So these will hold a 4x6 photo, and they're 5x7. So when I had ordered that, the monthly kit, I had also ordered some of these cards because I had an idea while I was sitting there. I was like, I wonder if I could make scrapbook pages with these, and you can. So it's so cool. But they're really heavy quality cardstock. They're thick. They're not flimsy at all. And then they come with the envelopes. So let me show you what I made. So off the front, so one of the things that interested me in the kit was when she was talking about the things that she had found and she was putting in them is these old seed packets. Now growing up, my mom always had a garden, so this kind of was nostalgic seeing these seed packets. And I mean, it says 10 cents. So you can tell that these are old. So she had found a bunch of them, and they ended up going in the kits. So I thought it was neat. So I also used some paper from my stash, just a couple of sheets of scrapbook paper that I had that actually worked very well with the flower theme. So what I did was I just fussy cut out on the cover. So let me give you a quick measurement of the album. So this is 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, and then I have a 2-inch spine on it. And so there's not a whole big tutorial on the complete construction of the pages and everything. I walk you through creating the cover and the actual pages. I'm sorry, the decorating is, there's not a whole lot. I did show some things that I thought might be of interest, but there wasn't like a kit. There's nothing you can go get. So it wasn't really, you know, worth going through and showing you what I was doing because you can't really go get the stuff. So you'd have to just use your own items. So I used some seam binding that I had in my stash, and this was green, and it fit perfect with these colors. So we open it up. So all my pages here are constructed with the cards and envelopes. So this is the envelope, and then this is the card base. And by cutting part of the card off, I created a pocket, so we have that. So I'll walk you through that. But anyway, on the front part here is the first part is a cute little pocket made with the seed packet. And I do have a video of everything I received in that monthly subscription box on another video, and I will link that down below so you can see it. So then a corner pocket in the back, which is also constructed using those cards. So we go over to the first page. I left this black because I didn't want to take away from what the cards were, and they are supposed to hold photos, 4x6 photos. So I thought that that would be perfect. And this just slides out. And then this shows, you know, that it's a photo note card and everything. I didn't want to take away from what the actual cards were supposed to be for. So I went ahead and left that blank. I could have gone and fussy cut out like some paper to go around it, but I decided I didn't really want to do that part of it. Just kind of wanted to leave them like they were. And then this little butterfly was also from the kit. So you open it up. So this part here is this part here. So if I open it up here, so you can see this is the page, and then this right here, I cut this down, and then I use the pieces left over here to attach to the back of what was left to create a pocket. So you actually have a stacked pocket right here. So you have this one here, and then your envelope, and then it works like that. And then this is, you can kind of see the white. That's the flap from the envelope. And I added some cardstock to the back of it because of the glue tab when you seal an envelope. I didn't want humidity and stuff like that getting to it. So I added some cardstock that also came in the kit to go ahead and just cover that up. But you have your full envelope, and then you have your pocket. So you have a stacked pocket. And then it flips over again, pocket right there. And then also in the kit, you got different pages and stuff she took out of a flower book. So I just tore them so that it had a nice kind of vintage look to it, and then inked them with vintage photo. Then we go over here and the back side of the envelope, which is also how you attach to your hinge system. This is the binding pocket, and I created another pocket on the back. And then it just repeats itself. So this was a little bird cutout that she had included. This was a wallpaper, so I kind of made a page using some wallpaper, and I thought that was kind of neat. Also in the kit, there was just like a page from a journal or a calendar, and it had the little tab, so I thought that was kind of fun. So I went ahead and cut that, stuck my envelope to it, used a piece from behind it along with some cardstock, and then again back to my cute little pocket. And then we have our inside pockets. And then I left, this was also from the kit, and it just had her logo there, the Plymouth Cards. I left it that there because, I mean, the whole thing has got words and things on it, and I thought it was kind of cute. So I left that there. And then the back side, a little butterfly. So this is my favorite layout here that I did. So you have the pocket with the seed packet right here. And then in with the kit that you got, she had these bags here. This one was a smaller one. I do have a bigger one. So it was just the bags that she put some of the embellishments and different pieces in, but there was a smaller bag. So I went ahead and added that bag as a page because it literally fit perfect. And then it works nice and neat to kind of hold stuff. So it's kind of a mix between like a junk journal mini album kind of thing. And then over here, another pocket. But this section here is my favorite. I loved how this little spread came out. And then the flowers right there. The pockets. Just like that. And then again. And then this was a page, kind of ripped it out and inked the edges on it. And then the back corner pocket, same thing, using one of those cards. I cut an angle, made it on my pocket, and you'll see in the tutorial how I did all that as well. So anyway, I just wanted to share with you a quick video of this super cute little mini album, aka also junk journal. There's a lot of other stuff. There was a lot of other stuff in the kit. There was some note paper and stuff that can easily be put in here. But just wanted to show you how cute this came out. So anyway, I will leave a link to Plymouth Cards down below. I also use supplies from Caterpillar. I will leave links down below to those, as well as a discount code should you want to purchase some of the Caterpillar products. I do have an affiliate link for them, so if you click on that, that just lets them know that you saw my video, and then you can save 15% too. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Go ahead, watch the video. I don't have measurements, or I'm not sure if I'm going to put measurements down below. Just watch the video. Everything for all measurements and stuff is in the video. I am still somewhat limited to time in my craft room. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this and enjoy the tutorial. All right, let's go ahead and make our pages. So let me show you what we're doing. So this is the card, and we have a pocket here, and we have a pocket here. And then if this will flap over, we're going to put something on it to go ahead and make sure the sticky part, for humidity purposes and stuff, isn't going to go ahead and like self-stick to itself. And then the back side is where we have our hinge. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So I am using the Plymouth Cards. These are the 5x7 ones. And normally, this is what you would have, your card, and then it goes into your envelope. And the cardstock for these cards themselves are very heavy. So, and you would just go in there, perfect little card. So we're going to use both of these to go ahead and make our pages. So let's put this stuff aside at the moment. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we need to cut down this flap. So I'm going to use my Caterpillar crop. And what we want to do is we only want 3 inches from the inside out. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up to 3 inches. Make sure I'm lined up. I can see I'm at the 3-inch mark here, and I line up evenly down here. I'm going to go ahead and chop that off. So now we have a smaller flap. So if you were to. Now you have this piece left over, and this is approximately, it's just over 2 inches. So we're going to trim it down first to 2 inches because it's just going to make life easier. Okay, we have this garbage. And then we want to cut this in half. We want to bring this down to 2 1-inch pieces. So I'm going to line it up. Okay, we have that. Now, because we're making hinges right now for our flap, and they're going to go on the back side here. So because this is already the size, we don't need to adjust it. And we just need to cut this way here. And these should be 3 inches if you cut it correctly. So we need to take one of our strips, and we're going to cut 2 3-inch pieces. So we're using every bit of this card. We're not going to really have much left over for scrap. And because this is a heavier weight cardstock, I'm going to use my Caterpillar scoreboard. And because it is heavier, I am going to go ahead and use this handy dandy little attachment. That way I can go ahead and, if I can get it out, there we go. And we're going to go ahead and score that because it is heavier. So I need to score these, but all 3 of these in half, so 1/2 inch because they are 1 inch. I have the little red marker on the end of this. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in my 1/2 inch, and I'm just going to set it down. And I'm going to take my first piece. So I'm going to just make sure it's lined up here. I don't have to really, because it's only 1 inch and I'm doing it in half. So I just have to make sure I am just really right up the edge here. Might take a minute or 2 to get used to it, just because this is a short piece. So I'm just going to hold it, and then I'm just going to go ahead and crease the top just a little, just so I can get my square going. And then I'm going to hold it, and I'm just going to go slowly, just like that. And because this is thicker, look how awesome that just scored it. So I'm going to do it to the other 2 pieces. And this one, it has the Plymouth card thing here. I'm just going to flip it over because it's going to end up being on the inside. So you could leave it if you wanted to go ahead and have like just sort. It is going to be a junk journal, so you definitely could go ahead and leave it over and have it as part of it. And that one's scored. Okay. I'm going to bring my card back over. And now I'm just going to go ahead and fold these. Give them a good burnish. And I'm going to go ahead now and add 3/8 inch score tape to each side, or top and bottom rather. You're not doing each side. And then one more. And this is what we're doing to go ahead and create our pocket, and we're going to attach it to our envelope. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and trim our pieces. So we're just going to go ahead and fold it just like that. These ones we're going to go ahead and trim from the corner out. So you can see we're trimming it like that, folding it, trim it. Now you're going to do the same thing to the other two pieces, but we're going to have to go ahead and trim those a little more after, so we don't have a lot of bulk in our pocket. And I will show you. One second. All right, so now we're going to take our card. So this is the front. This has gone around to the back. So we're just going to flip it over. And I'm just going to turn it because it's just easier for me to put the stuff on this way. So this is where we're open here. I don't know if I have something to put there. Actually, no, we'll just do this here for now, just so you can see. So this is folded. I'm going to go ahead and test it first just to make sure. I should be perfect because I did cut it from this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the first one. So we're going to take off one side, and we are putting it so the mouth, the open end, is going in this direction. So we're going to start at the corner. I'm just going to touch it just to kind of semi-tack it, and then I'm going to hold the top, and I'm going to make sure I am lined up right with my crease. So this is how we are right now. Okay, whoops, just like that. Okay, and remember, it's not going to matter. Make sure this is the correct way when we attach it, but we're doing it that way. So now your next piece, what you're going to do is these are going to go on like right here, but we don't want this overlap here. So you can see if I put this at the top, you can see all that overlap. That's going to create a lot of bulk in our pocket, so our pages aren't going to lay flat. So we're going to really give this a good angle. So as long as you don't chop off this edge, the corner point right here, we're just going to give it a good, better angle. So you can see like how much more I just chopped off right there. So then go ahead and test it. Hold this one down and then add this to the edge. Let's see. And it looks pretty good. I think I'm just going to angle it a tad more. All right, and then test it again. Good. Now right here, as I see, I didn't quite, I went to the edge, but not 100%. So you see this little nubbins right here sticking out, like if I get to the white, see that? You can see that right there. Go ahead and trim that first. So let's just go ahead and cut that little nubbin off. You don't want anything overhanging, okay? So now let's go back And we're going to go ahead and set it on, make sure we're good. We are, so we're going to start with this one. We're going to attach it to the bottom first because any little nubbins at the top we can trim off. So I've just brought this flap down and I'm going to set it on and then lining it right up to the edge, just like that. And as you can see here, we're not really overhanging anywhere. And then just test, take a peek, and I don't have any nubbins right here hanging off, so that one's good. And then we're going to do the other side same way. So make sure you test out where you're going first before you cut. You don't want to cut the wrong end. So this end here, give it a good angle, test it out. Doesn't look like you can see from the tape, no overhang, so I'm going to go ahead and stick this one on, starting with the bottom first, and then making sure I'm staying lined up to the edge of my card. And then, nope, no nubbins there either, so this is what I have, okay? All right, so the next step, we got to attach it to our card. So we have our envelope, flap that opens here. We've created our pocket right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it in and I'm going to close the flap because I want a little bit of that white border showing all the way around. And I want to make sure that this flap here is going to not get hung up on that right there. So I'm going to go ahead, close it. I'm going to make sure I am centered top to bottom. So I got to pull it closer to me to see. All right, so when it looks like I have even the bottom here, you can't see the angle of the camera, but it is pretty much the same as the top. Yeah. So it's nice and snug. I got my flap down all the way. So what I'm going to do is just carefully lift up this end where my flap is. Remove my tape. We're going to tuck it back under and stick it. So now we can open everything up. So that is stuck. I'm just going to remove my tape. And I'm just going to go ahead and stick down that part. And then I have a pocket and a pocket. All right. And then this closes up like this. This will end up keeping closed your double pockets. This flap will keep it closed. And like I said, we're going to put something here over the top of it because this sticky part, I don't want self-sealing due to humidity and stuff, that tape part there. All right. So now we're going to flip it over and we're going to go ahead and attach our hinge to the back. So let me cut that piece. All right, so for the back hinge part, you're going to need a piece that is going to be 2.5 by 8 1/4. And the way I came up with that is my envelope is 7 1/4 inches, and I need a 1/2 inch on each side to tuck under. So I just added an inch, so that's 8 1/4. And I want my pocket to come up about 2.5 inches, or not my, well, it will be a pocket, but my hinge. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my piece. So the first one is going to be 8 1/4 by 2.5 inches. Look how smooth this trimmer cuts. Cuts just as great as the big one I have. All right, and let's get our scoreboard. We do not need this little heavy duty piece. And we're going to take our 8 1/4 inch piece and we're going to score 1/2 inch on each end. So that's going to be 1/2 inch and at 7 3/4. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and add tape. You don't need to trim these back at all because nothing's going to be sticking out. And then we're just going to fold it. Give it a little burnish so they're nice and creased. Take our page, we're flipping it over to the back. So this is the front, remember. We're flipping it over, and our hinge is going to go down here, okay? And I'm just rotating it because it's easier for me to stick it on. And I'm making sure I'm lined up side to side, and the bottom, I just untuck while I'm holding it, stick it down. Same thing for the other side. And then this now, it's a tunnel, and that's how you're going to attach it to your book. So nice little pretty white border all around. All right, so you're going to go ahead and make 3 of these. All right, let's go ahead and make our cover. So you're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard that are 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, and 1 piece that is 2 by 8 1/4. That is going to be your spine piece. We are going to do the lay flat method by Country Craft Creations. So let's go ahead and cut some cardstock. So what you're going to do is you want to have at least 1 inch to wrap around. So you're going to add, because you need 1 inch on each side, so you need to add 2 inches to your measurements. So my cardstock is going to be 8 1/4 by 10 1/4. So let's go ahead and cut that. I will do one with you. So we're going to go 8 1/4 by 10 1/4. And whatever adhesive method you prefer, you can. I am going to go ahead and wrap with score tape. And I need to grab another piece. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this. And fill in. All right, now we can go ahead and stick this in our paper. So what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and use the scoreboard. I do have spacers. Not everybody has the spacers, so these are the spacers that I am talking about. These are from Country Craft Creations. And what you would do is go ahead, lay your spacers down. Actually, put my paper first, making sure I'm all the way to the side and the top. And then all I would do is go ahead, put this here. I have a 1 inch all the way around. However, if you do not have spacers, you can go ahead and score. So 1 inch, and then rotate and do another 1 inch. Doesn't matter which way you rotate. You just want to get your 1 inch. And then what you're going to do is go ahead and lay your cover down just like that within your score lines. Okay, and then lining it up just like that. Make sure you are good and burnished. Let's move that out of the way. And then what I like to do is just go ahead and fold your book as so, just to get a little bit of creasing going on. And now what I'm going to do is go ahead and add some tape. And I'm going to be cutting the corners off, but I just want to make sure I have good tape coverage. because I don't want anything lifting. And I want to make sure it's all good and down, and then I'm going to use some tape on the inside because I want to make sure this part here that's black still is going to adhere nice. So we're just going to give it a little extra tape. Just like that. And then I am going to get my little corner tool, and I'm going to do some trimming. Now you could take and trim it to leave about 1/8 of an inch because you want a little overlap here. However, I have the tool. I prefer to use the tool. So I have this little right angle tool that I'm going to use because I do like to make sure those are nice and clean edges. Certain things I don't like to wing, and doing these, that's one of them. All right. So again, now I'm just going to go ahead and let's clean up a little bit of the mess. I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm just going to kind of lay it over, and I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that we're going to get some nice creasing. I don't really want any fraying or cracking of my paper. That sometimes can happen if you don't go ahead and get your paper worked in well. Oops. So I'm just kind of slightly doing it until it comes over. All right, so those are good and burnished. So what I'm going to do first, let's take the tape off on the inside. And we'll start with the sides first. So whatever I do, I'll either do sides, both sides first, or top and bottom first, just because I want to have it even on both sides. So again, I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm just going to go ahead and crease it. Now that the tape's off, it does work a little better. So I'm just going to make sure I'm nice and good, and then I'm slowly just taking my bone folder and angling it down. Oops. Till I get where I think it's comfortable, and then I can just go ahead and press it down. Make sure we're nice and burnished. Flip it around to the other side, same way. And just work those paper fibers. Okay, and then now we're going to do the same thing to the top part. So you do have a little bit of overlap right there. We're just going to go ahead and pinch it in, just like that. Now, if you hand cut this part here and you're not sure, you're going to go ahead and get it overlap nice so you're not going to see any chipboard, you may want to go ahead now. I don't have a black Sharpie because it's dead. But go ahead, take a black Sharpie or whatever color cardstock. Go ahead, just fill in that area just to make sure, just in case it's not all the way cut perfect. And then just again, work it over and burnish it down. Now you're going to have a little overlapping step right here because the paper fold. What I like to do with that part is just take my bone folder and just go back and forth and try to get that smoothed out a little bit. And you're not going to get completely smooth, obviously, but you can get it so you don't feel it as much. And then let's do the other side. Pinching in those little areas. And the same thing again. those down. And then what I like to do afterwards too is just take my bone folder, go up on the side, and then round, just in case there is any paper hanging over. Just kind of round that a little bit. All right, now you're going to do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to do that one off camera. All right, let's go ahead and do our spine piece now. So let me show you that one, my ruler. So this piece is 2 by 8 1/4, and we need to have at least 2 inches on each side to go ahead and lay our covers down on, plus to wrap the top and the bottom. So what I'm going to do is take my ruler, and I need to go 2 inches here, and then 2 inches here. So that's going to give me 6 inches. And then obviously we're 8 1/4. We need to wrap with 1 inch. So this is going to be 10 1/4, the height of my paper. So again, we are going to cut this at the cardstock at 6 by 10 1/4. So 6. And 10 1/4. And then we can take our scoreboard. And because I just said that we need 2 inches, so our scores, we're going to do 2 inches. Now when I do the spine piece, I do kind of like to have it scored on both sides. It just makes wrapping and folding a little easier. So obviously it's 2 inches. We have 6, and the next inch would be 4. And then we're wrapping with 1 inch top and bottom. So let's go ahead and do that the same way. So 1 inch, and we're 10 1/4. So we're going to come down to 9 1/4. That would give us our 1 inch. Okay. All right, and then we need to go ahead and add tape. Let's use this one because my roll is 2.5. Full tape coverage on your spine. You do not want any of your cardstock lifting. And then this piece here is basically going to go right in the middle, okay? And make sure we're lining up everywhere. And then again, I am just going to go ahead and fold just like I did before. You do have score lines now, so it will make folding a little easier. So what I'm going to do first is I'm flipping it over to the back side. And I'm going to go ahead and take my bone folder because I need to have this cardstock here wrapping up against the edge of here. So just going to go ahead and burnish in there. Just like that. And again, other side. And you may notice I did get some cracking on my paper. And I do have a bad batch of paper. I did get it from Michael's. I usually have pretty good luck with the paper at Michael's, but this batch just seems to not want to play nice sometimes. So. And that honestly has nothing to do with the way I burnish this paper. It is the cardstock. So now I'm going to fold it over. Just like that. And then the other side, same way. I'm not concerned with this because this is all being wrapped, so I'm not concerned with any part of this here cracking because it's all going to be covered over. If anything, it'll give it a little frayed look because it is a junk journal, so that's one reason why I'm okay with it like that, because it will give itself its own little aged look. All right, so I have those, and now I'm going to go ahead and put some tape on each end. And I'm just going over the part that's going to touch the spine because we're cutting off some of the other part. And then the same thing again on that there. And basically what we're going to do is fold this down just like that and have the two attach. Everybody does theirs a little different. This is the way I do mine. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I am, again, nice and burnished right there. And then I like to take my bone folder, go right up here, and then just go out. I'm going to be cutting most of that off, so I'm not concerned. Like that. And as you can see, I did crack. Whoops. I did crack there, but like I said, I'm not worried. I can take some art glitter glue and go over it. I'll do that after and I'll show you. It's not cracking on like the areas that I'm going to actually be folding, so so far I'm not too concerned with it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut out this direction, but I do want to make sure I'm going to have full tape coverage. So before I do that part, oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. On the wrong side. I'm doing it on this side is the tape coverage. So let's go ahead and make sure that we are well creased. So again, as you can see, I want to have it kind of flat. So when I put my cover on, I want these two pieces to kind of lay as flat as they can. So all right, so let's go ahead and put our tape on, and then I'll show you how I'm going to fix that. So I know I'm cutting a good part of this off, but I just want to make sure that I have plenty of tape coverage. Now I'm going to add another piece of tape, but I'm going to keep it probably about 3/8 of an inch away, roughly, from my spine, because I'm going to go ahead and add tape afterwards to my cover piece. So all right, so I have tape there. Now I need to go ahead and trim these. So let's get my scissors, and I'm going to go ahead from this corner right here out, just like I'm doing a hinge, kind of, just like that. And then I did the tape coverage because I want to make sure I have tape up to the edge. I don't want to have to trim that afterwards. So I cut off most of those other pieces there. All right, and then these little flappadoos, sometimes I just trim those, sometimes I don't. I'm going to trim them right now just to get rid of some bulk. Just like that. And now let me show you with the glue to kind of fix my crayon. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue on it, and then just kind of reinforce it with a little bit of glue so I don't get any more cracking. And I'm going to let that dry. And this side seems okay. Well, it's cracking a little here, so let's... And I don't want to play with it too much, because the more you play with it, the more it's going to actually start fraying more, because your hands are going to be sticky, and then it's going to start sticking to the glue. So I don't want that to do. So I'm going to let that dry. All right, so we should be pretty dry on those. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our covers, and one for each side. Whoops, one for each side. So I am going to go ahead and add tape. So on this here, because the way, let's put it this way here so you can see. So basically the angle that I cut it is the angle like right here where my paper folded over. So when I tape this one here, I'm only going to tape in between those lines right there, because I don't want my tape showing. So I'm just going to go ahead, put it on. And then the other one, same thing. Flip it out. So each side, and we're going to go ahead and set it on. Give it a dry run. Make sure everything looks nice. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to go ahead, take that off. Give it a quick little burnish just to make sure that I'm tucked up against that chipboard. And then I'm eyeballing it, making sure I am centered top to bottom. It looks good. Stick it down. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side. Test it first. Looks good. I'm going to give this a little tuck. And lining it up top to bottom. Looks good. And then give it a good burnish. And then there we go. And that is how we make our cover. All right, time to make the hinge. So our hinge piece needs to be 7 1/4 by 10. The 7 1/4 is actually the height of our pages. So we need 7 1/4 there. All right, let's do 7 1/4. I kind of adjusted my camera a little bit, but I think it's too much now. Hold on. Okay, let's try that. All right, so 7 1/4 by 10 inches. I haven't done videos in a while, so I did a little adjusting on the camera. All right, so let's go ahead and score this. So our first score line, we want an inch and a half overflap. So our first score line is going to be 1 1/2 inches. And then we're going to start doing our hinges, and I'm doing 1 inch, but we're going to put it down a 1/2 inch. You'll see when I get there. So our first score line is 1 1/2. And then we're going to go 2 1/2, 3 1/2. We want a 1/2 inch gusset. So our next score line is going to be 4 inches. And then we're going to do 5, 6, 6 1/2, 7 1/2, and 8 1/2. And that's going to leave us 1.5 inches on the other side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fold. And let's hope I don't have too much cracking. I can already see the cracking on this, but let's see what we got. So we're going to fold. I'm just lightly folding with my hands first. This isn't very big. And when I'm folding, I am making sure I am lining up side to side. I do not want my pages to go on crooked. The direction of the paper fibers too make a difference too. If I had cut the paper a different way, might not have been that bad. So we're going to go back. This is pretty thin, so I'm not going to have to really varnish it a lot. Doing it with my hands is going to be perfect. And seeing how I have all the cracking on this side, I'm going to go ahead and fold it because there's not really much cracking on that side. So I'm going to hide all the cracking on this side. So let's go ahead and tape. So when we tape it, we're taping our 1 inch hinges. So basically we are going to do basically like that. Okay, so if I just open it, so tape wise, let's see if I got something. I don't know if you'll see it, but so here's the first hinge. We're taping this one, skipping one because this one's going to attach to this. This is our gusset, so we're going to tape this one to this page, gusset, and then this one. So those are the ones that we're going to go ahead and put tape on. Okay. And so you can see I just taped all of those. So now what I'm going to do is take my tape off, the first one, and I'm just going to fold the whole thing over. So this piece is going to get attached to that piece, just like that. And then the next piece, same thing, right on over. And then this one, right on over. And then as you see, we got our hinges, okay? Just like that, okay? So then the next step I want to do is I need to make little tick marks. Let me just burnish those tops down because they're not quite folded enough. Okay. Yeah, they're better. All right, so the next thing we want to do is I want to go ahead and add a little tick mark on these at 1/2 inch on top and bottom. That's going to help me go ahead and line my pages up, so that way my page is going to be straight. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to take this, and I just want this one hinge right here. So I'm going to take all this, fold it back, and from the crease right here, I'm going to put my ruler down. And either way, depending on what way you want to do this, you can do it from the crease line up 1/2 inch or from the top part down 1/2 inch. Whatever way you do, continue that for all the pieces. Do it the same direction, because you don't want to have your lines just because, like, if I put it here at the crease, you can see I'm not quite at the 1 inch. There's a little bit of, like, you can see it, that's just over exaggerated, but you can see it's not quite to the 1 inch. So if you do one way and one the other, you're going to end up with crooked pages. So whatever way you do it, do them both the same. So I think I'm going to go from the outside down 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my ruler is true to that 1 inch line. Even if it hangs over a little on this side here, at least I know. So, and then 1/2 inch, and I'm doing right at the top and the bottom. So a little tick mark there, and then same thing on the bottom. So as you can see on my hinge, there's a little tick mark there and a little tick mark right down here at the bottom. Okay, and I'm going to flip it over and do the back side. Same thing. I'm going to do it to all my hinges. And it's much easier to do it now than trying to do it after it's in your book, because it will be nearly impossible. So you can do one side. You don't have to do the front and the back. I like to do both sides just because that's how I like to do it. That one's done, that one's done. I gotta do this one. And I think they're all done now, so Yep, so this again, here's my hinge and all my little tick marks. You can, I don't know if I can get them to show. But you can kind of see it here. You can see that one there, and then that one right there. Anyway, so that part's done. So now the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add 3/8 inch tape from the outside down. Again, this is easier to do now than trying to do it in the book. And I will show you. So again, we're just like this, and I'm putting tape right there. And I'm going to do that to all sides on all 3 hinges. Then we're going to go ahead and trim that after, but I'll show you as soon as I'm done taping. We're going to go ahead and miter off the corners so our pages don't get caught up. And again, using the 3/8 inch tape, you can see my little tick mark. Let's see. Let me make it darker. So you can kind of see it right there. Oops. So it's below the tape line, so your page will have room to just kind of sit down further than the tape. So now what you're going to do is go ahead and, because again, it's not in your book, it's easy to do, I am going to go ahead and trim, and I'm trimming from the tape portion up. So I'm not going for my tick mark. You can see it sort of right there. I'm doing it from the tape. And both sides. Okay, just like that. And the idea of that is because you want your book, so while it's not in there, in the book itself, you want to be able to stick it, your hinge over it. Oops, and get a good grip. Just like that. And then when you have your tape marks, you can go ahead and put your book in, and you can see the tape marks. So wherever your tick marks. So when you put your page in, you don't have to go down to the tick. You just want to make sure that your binding piece is an equal distance from that to the tick mark as it is to the top part. That way you're going to make sure you get a straight page in it. And then you can just go in afterwards and erase those little tick marks. So now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and add tape to the whole back of our hinge. And that's going to help with any of the cracking on my paper. So I'm only sticking it to the outside edge of my tape. I'm not completely stuck down because I don't want my hinge to stick. So I have it folded. Okay, and then I can just go ahead and roll down my hinge so I don't kind of pre-stick anything I shouldn't be sticking. And then I'm going to trim that and add another piece. Okay, that looks good. And let's just finish it up with the smaller piece because I'm kind of away from my hinge by a little bit. Okay, and let's go ahead, give all that a nice burnish down on my hinges. All right, and then we have this piece. Now we're going to go ahead and stick that into the book. So let's grab the book. So Next step is I want to make sure that this is going to be equal top and bottom and in the middle. So I'm going to make some more marks because we like to make tick marks. So this is a 3-page hinge, which is nice because obviously the second page is the middle of your whole binding system. And we're going to go ahead, and this is a 2 inches. So obviously 1 inch from each edge is going to be your center point. So I'm going to line it up, and I'm just going to make a little tick mark right in the center. A lot of this we're going to eyeball, but we can eyeball these little tick marks. So basically where that tick mark is going to be where I want my center page to line up. So you can kind of see. So I'm going to do that top and bottom. And everything you can erase afterwards. And the other thing is my book is 8 1/4 and my hinges are 7 1/4, so that leaves 1 inch. So we're going to divide that in half by 1/2 inch, and I'm going to come up, and I'm only doing one side because it's too hard to try to make even top and bottom. So basically this needs to be a 1/2 inch from the top and a 1/2 inch from the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead, put my ruler on, and I'm just going to make a line at a 1/2 inch up. So there's my 1/2 inch. And so basically the bottom of this needs to be on that 1/2 inch line, and my second page needs to line up with the tick mark here. So this right here has got to line up with that, and then the center page is going to line up with the tick mark, and that one you're going to make sure you line up top and bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and stick it down, and I might have to stand up for this to make sure I'm lining up with my tick mark at the top. However, if you did go ahead and draw your 1/2 inch line straight, oh, lost my video. If you made this straight, then you should be able to line up pretty good. So I'm going to pull it closer to me so I can see. What I'm doing is when I set it down too, I'm going to pull this nice and snug so I don't have anything kind of like, I'm not trying to put it down like this to line it up. I want it nice and tight and snug. So first thing is I'm going to line it up to, oh, actually, first thing is any tape that might be overhanging, go ahead and just flip that over because that's going to show when you put your book down. We don't want tape showing. Okay. All right, do it again. So first thing I'm going to do, pulling it nice and tight, I'm going to look at my 1/2 inch line, and I can see it. And I want to put this piece, the binding piece, down just over the line because it is going to be a little challenging to erase that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it down. Now I'm eyeballing, so it's right on the line. It's just over the line a tad, so I don't have to worry about it seeing it. So what I'm doing is making sure I'm centered to that tick mark there and to the tick mark at the top. And I think I'm good. Before I completely stick it, I'm going to look at it. It looks good. So I have it on there so you can see. I don't know how well it's going to show, but I am lined up to that tick mark there and the tick mark at the bottom. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit the middle hinge. I'm going to go on each side first just to get that tape stuck. And then I can use my bone folder. I'm going to go the next one. And then I can get the rest pressed down. And then I got to work those hinges. So first I'm going to go in and just burnish right up against the edge to make sure that that hinge is stuck to my book. And I'm going to do it on all of them. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to make sure that this is going to be stuck down. So what I'm going to do is, I like to work from the other side because I am right-handed, so let's do this side first. So what I want to do is try to get the crease in this part here. I can just fold these down. I want the book cover because I want to make sure it's going to close nice. So I'm slowly lifting up on the cover, and I'm just going to keep working my bone folder up and down on that piece of cardstock that we just attached to get that broken in. So when I think I've got it varnished enough, because you can only go so far, I'm just going to hold my cover and I'm going to put my hand on the back at the bottom, and I'm just slowly going to keep pushing it down. I don't want to force it because I don't want the paper to crack. I already have enough problems with this paper, so. And I'm just going to keep working it until it feels like it's going to go ahead and just lay down on its own. And then I'm going to work it till it goes all the way flat. Just like that. And then I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And just keep working it. Don't force it because you don't want it cracking. And if you did your book correctly, everything should line up nice and square. As you can see, this one does. All good. All right, so now I can go ahead and erase these little tick marks at the top and the bottom. I don't need those, so let's get rid of those first. And I'm right on the pencil line. I don't know if I can. I got that one, so that's good. All right, now we're going to add our pages. So we're going to start with the last one first. Again, little tunnel. What we're going to do is we are basically going to go ahead and stick it on just like this. And we're lining up our page to those tick marks, or as close as you can to those tick marks, but make sure you have equal space top and bottom so that way you can get your pages to stay lined up. So taking the tape off. And we're going to go ahead and tuck that in. I'm looking at my tick marks. And you can see I am pretty close to equal distance, top and bottom. So I'll go ahead and do the next page. Do make sure that they are all facing the right direction. Test each piece just in case you got to make some trimmings. And also make sure you're looking at your tick marks and then making sure your next page is going to go ahead and fit in there nicely. And when it looks good, stick it. And again, making sure you're keeping lined up even. You can notice that too when you're testing your piece too, just so you know. So my tick marks, pages look even. Let's put the last one on. Looks good. And there we go. We have our pages in our book, just like that. Looks nice. All lined up. So now what you can do is go ahead, any tick marks, just go ahead and erase those now so you don't forget to erase them later. Because as you start adding stuff to it, it's going to be harder to get your eraser in there. And there you go. Your book is all ready to go ahead and decorate, and it's going to be fun. So we can do some things, whether this becomes like an insert area. Maybe I'll trim it. I'm not sure if I'm going to trim it, but we'll see. And then you have a full page here, double pocket. And then you have your flap, and then you also got a pocket on the back. If you want to, you can always add more pages to that. You can add a little flip and stuff here. Anyway, that is that. Alright, so we have our book made, and I'm not going to do a full tutorial on decorating this because I'm just using scraps and stuff, and I'm using the supplies that I received from Plymouth Cards, which I don't know if it's available any longer or not, and that was with kind of like her monthly journal kit. I have a link, I'll link down the video below to the box that I got and my unboxing of that. However, I am going to do a little bit of tutorial on some of the stuff that I'm doing, so if you just have questions on things, you can kind of see how I did some of it. So the first one is these flaps. So we do have a double pocket right here. So we have this one and this one. We have this flap here. Now it's not quite long enough to go over here. However, it also has the sticky gum part right there that you can see that the envelope has. So I want to cover that because I don't want that to, from humidity and stuff, go ahead and stick when I really don't want it to. So we're going to cover that. So I am going to cut a piece. Let's go 3.5, and we are going to go by 7.25 for right now. So with the kit that I got from Plymouth Cards, we got a bunch of these cardstocks. So let's cut the first piece. So 7.5. No, 7.25, 3.5. And then 3.5. Now let's check it out. And we're going to attach that just like that. So let's see. And we're going to be a little longer. So with the size of the envelope, that's not going to show very well. And so it's going to be a little longer than the card, which I happen to like the layering. So I'm going to leave that one. So, and what I want to do is I want to mimic the corners on my envelope. So I'm going to round two sides. And then let's see, I'm going to use tape. I could use glue. However, I want to use tape on this only because I prefer tape. So I'm going to go ahead and line this side up with tape here. And then also on this side where my sticky part is. Now I am doing the envelope because the envelope is smaller than my cardstock. So I'm going to make sure that it is all squared up. And I'm pushing in to make sure that it's going to be in there. And you know what I see is a little piece that didn't quite cut. All right, let's try it again. So I'm putting it all the way up, making sure I'm going to be lined up nice. And when I know that's what I want, I'm going to go ahead and just remove my tape. And then just stick that down. And now I have this flap to keep all of my stuff in here, sealed in here nice. And I don't have to worry about the sticky part on my envelope. And then the other thing I was thinking, let me see what I have for supplies. All right, so what I found was, this is super pretty. It says California Poppy, and it just so happens in one of the flower books she sent me, or flower pages rather, in the box, was one that actually does say poppy. It's a little different kind of poppy, but I thought if I put that on there and then somehow do something like that. So I need this piece to be about 3 1/4. And what do we have? All right, so, and I don't want to make this all nice and neat. I want to kind of give it a junk journal look, so I'm going to hand tear it all. So let's see. So let's start by kind of, so I just want that jagged edge. Okay. I think I want the words, because I don't think, I want the flowers to be this one, so we're going to go across the bottom. And then, so if I pretty much come down this way, that, and let's see, I don't quite like that like that. All right, now let's see, so I need to come just under the photo. And I can save that for something. Let's trim this off. And then, all right, so I like how the top of that looks right there. All right, I adjusted my colors a little bit. Let's see if that helps a little more. So I'm lining this up kind of where I like it, and I need to trim a little off at the bottom. So let's start with a little bit. And I want it to fit with inside my area here. And just a little more. And I think that looks good. So what I want to do now is I'm going to ink my edges because I want to make those tears a little more defined. So just going to go in, and you can see and then I can go ahead and stick this down. And then when I set it on top, you can see it kind of adds a little color to it. So let's go ahead and stick that one down. And I'm not sure on the paper adding glue to it, only because I'm not sure. This is kind of an older book, and I don't know how the glue is going to react to it. So of course I'm going to tape. And I'm adding a pocket to this, so I want to make sure I have tape in the middle so I don't get any lifting from it. So I get this where I like it. There's that one. Just like that. So now in the box we got these old seed packets, which are kind of cool. The only thing is it's the bottoms that are open, and I want to make this a pocket, so I'm going to seal up the bottom. So close that back over. Let's add some tape. Seal that up just like that. And then I'm going to go to my trimmer. Because the top is sealed, I am just going to go ahead and slice off a very little slice, just like that, because I want to make sure that now my pocket will open from the top. And then I'm going to figure out where it looks good on here, which I kind of like right there. And I think I'm going to ink the edges of this one too. Just because I want to go for that vintage look. So, and I am using Vintage Photo. So I like that. And I think it actually, so I want my tag to stick up out of it. So I want to bring it down a little lower, because I do want my tag, and I want to angle it a little bit. So I think it looks good there. I am just going to mark off a little bit, kind of where I want to put it. And then when I stick it down, I can just come down a little lower on that. So, and then, so I'm going to go ahead and add some tape. And then on the pocket, and then I'm just going to come over just a little. And let's make sure we're good. I am going, where's my lines? There, there. That looks good. So now I'm lining it up with my pencil lines. And now I can erase. And there we go. And now I have a little pocket on the top. That's how I'm going to go ahead and work on those flaps. All right, so one of the other pieces that I received in the box was part of a journal page or a calendar. So I only want to use the part with this tab here. So I already know that I need to be 7 1/4 by 3 1/2. So let's start off with the 3 1/2, and I want the tab to stick out. So I'm measuring from the paper, not the tab. And then 7 1/4. And I can save that because that might be fun. And then I'm going to round my corner. And then the same thing, I'm just going to stick this one in here and just like that, and then decorate the rest. But I just wanted to show you using something like this, how I can incorporate it with the little tab and stuff right there. All right, so one thing that you do need to do, because you're using envelopes and they are very thin, they're probably like, I don't know, 20, 30-pound weight, basically computer paper. So you do need to thick it up, because as you build your book, you're going to go ahead and these are going to get very weak on you. So I have, I just found some old scrapbook paper in my stash, and I cut out a piece, and this one happens to be 4.5 by 7. And I'm just going to slip it in here and attach in here and just give the envelope a little more stability, because as you can see, it will kind of, it's not very strong. So I need to kind of thicken that up a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some scrap paper. And I went ahead and also inked the edges on it. So let's pull off 2 of them. And then I can get the last one off after. So I'm going to stick it in. And it is going to stick. And actually, I got that right where I wanted it. First try, that doesn't usually happen. And then I can just take off the outside one. And there, now our envelope is a little more sturdy, so you can see it's not going to bend like it was. So, just like that. All right, so the next step I want to do is I want to show you, I am going to go ahead and create a corner pocket for the front back cover, that is. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of the cards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up because I want to save this piece. And I'm going to cut a diagonal. So I'm going to cut from the fold line here down to here. So I'm going to line it up in my trimmer. And as you can see, I'm lining it up from up here to the bottom corner. And this is what I have left. And I went ahead already and cut out some pieces. So this piece here is going to go in my background right here. So because my cover is, what is it, 8 1/4 by 6 1/4? Yep. So this piece here I cut, this one is 6 by 8. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that one. Actually, I like that backside, but I'm going to cover it, so I guess it doesn't matter. And I did go ahead already and inked it. And I'm going to go ahead and line this up where I want it. Just like that. And stick the rest down. And now I need my page. So I'm going to line this up so it's pretty much lined up with the way these pages go. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. So kind of looks good right there. So I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to the back of this and stick it down just the same. doing it again. Let me reline it back up. I can open that flap up. One thing I'm going to do now is I cut a piece of cardstock to fit inside just like that, and then I'm going to put this piece over. So let's go ahead, and this piece here is measured 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And I'm going to center it to the space so I have even black all the way around. And I also did ink this one here as well. All right, so now this piece here, because it is, I don't want to tape it because it is going to become a pocket in a second. I'm going to go ahead and glue this one because if you do tape, things might stick. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue. So I need to go ahead, first of all, and glue this piece down. This was the part of the card that would normally slip in with a photo. So I'm going to make sure that one's down. And then I'm going to add a bead of glue along the bottom here of the black because then I'm going to stick it. So a little on the cardstock, little on the black. And I'm going to let that glue dry a second. And then I already cut a piece of cardstock. So this piece here, I cut it, let's see, I cut it 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. I cut it the same. However, I am going to trim this. So I'm going to lay this on here. And I think I need some color underneath. Just so I can see where I am. Just to make some marks. So I'm going to line it up with the black. So this part here, that is good. That corner, you can see where the black is. I'm still going to have some. So up here, I need to go ahead and make a mark. Now I'm coming down just below the black a little. And I'm going to trim it. So I'm going to trim from the little mark that I just made right here to the corner. And bring my book back, make sure that it is going to line up nice. And you see a little bit of that there. I am not worried. It'll add to the rest of the book with a lot of the writing and stuff. So I am going to ink it. And you could always hide that with some embellishments too if it bothers you. I do not know what I am doing yet, so that may get covered over as time goes. And let's add some tape. Stand up a little, tuck it under. And let's just go straight across. And I'm just going to go ahead and set it on again. Where's my, this one? you little poopy. All right, let's try it again. And then stick the rest down. Just like that. And now you have a pocket on the front to put whatever. Even if you wanted to, you could even just go ahead and add another pocket here. So then you have like a pocket underneath. You have a pocket on the top. Maybe I'll do that. Actually, that actually looks very pretty right there. So we might go ahead and do that. But anyway, do the back side, you do the exact same thing. You just do it all opposite. And let's see. This one might be a little more challenging. Or you just do the same direction. Could you do it this way? Oh yeah, just fold it inside like this. So you're going to do the same thing, but now you're going to just fold it this way, flip this flap out, and you're going to cut it that angle. Like that. The only thing, let's see, are we going to get hung up? So then you would put it on just like that, everything the same. And you know what I would do is I would cut this piece off because you don't want it hanging up with your pockets. Cut that off, and then do I have Scotch tape? I do in the other room. But I would add a piece of Scotch tape down here. So I don't have Scotch tape, but if you put Scotch tape on this part here, when you go to put things in your envelope, they're not going to catch. So I would add some tape on that. And let me go grab it. Okay, I have my tape. So if you just go ahead and tape down those edges there. Now your tags and stuff won't get jammed up. And then now you're just going to go ahead, put this in here, do everything the same way. You just cut all here, and you have your back pocket. All right, and I just wanted to go ahead and show you what the back pocket looked like. So now you got room here. Again, I may go ahead and just add one of these seed packets to it, cut it open, and make it a pocket just like that. So then you have kind of a double pocket. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish doing the rest of it off camera. I think I showed you enough of what kind of needs to be done. I might do something on these to show you whether I cover it over and then have something at the top or whatever. We'll figure that out. But for the most part, most of these pages here, I'm going to measure them and then cut them 1/4 inch smaller all the way around. The stack pocket, I will probably show you that as well, what I'm going to do there. But for most of it, I'm going to go ahead and cover up what I can. And then I'll show you maybe some of those. But anyway, that's what we have so far. Okay, so for my double stack pocket here, all I did was cut a piece of cardstock and 1/4 inch smaller. So I actually cut this at 2 3/4 by 6 3/4. And I don't think I'm going to add anything to here. I think I'm just going to leave this the way it is on all of them. And in the box, I got these little strips that came. I'm not really sure what they're originally for. Maybe it was for journaling or something. But I just went ahead and put it on the edge just to define where that envelope opens. So I'm actually going to do it with all of them, or all 3. And I'm just going to add it right along the edge there, because I don't really want to bulk that up too much with other cardstock and all, because the envelope is thin, so I don't want to put any extra weight on it. And then I just trimmed it to the opening, just like that. So I'm going to do that for the other one too. But I thought that kind of looked pretty. It kept it simple. I'm going to go ahead and embellish like these two sections here, and then I'll have my tags and stuff in here. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and do that, I think. I don't think I want to add anything to that part of it. All right, so for these pages here, I decided I didn't really want to take away from what the actual photo note card was supposed to be for. So I am cutting out a piece of cardstock that is literally just 4x6, and I'm going to leave this as a placeholder for a photo because I decided that I didn't want to take away from what that was. And it's like, it's already framed out. And it is a little tight only because I got stuff added around it. But I decided I'm just going to leave it like this, maybe throw some embellishments in the corner and stuff. But I didn't want to take away from what these really were because they are pretty and they're the perfect spot to put a 4x6 photo. So I'm going to cut one more piece for this one and then just add some embellishments and stuff around here. But I'm not going to do anything different to these. I did show you how to make a corner pocket by cutting that off. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it there. And I think the only thing left now is I'm going to finish this up and then you'll see the full walkthrough afterwards. If I need to show you anything again, I will show you, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. So I finished up the album. I didn't do anything else special, so there's not much else to show. On the cover, what I cut out is I just kind of fussy cut out around the butterfly and the flower, and then I just made a couple little photo mats to tuck in there. And most of this you're going to have seen in the video in the beginning, but I had created just a pocket right here, and then it has the pocket in the back, and then everything else is pretty much the same. So I didn't do anything special. So, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this little tutorial on using 5x7 cards and envelopes to go ahead and use those to create your pages. Alrighty, so if you have any questions, leave them down below. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. And until next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye.